Hello, everyone. A bit of a different LinkedIn Live today. Unfortunately, you might be sad that we will not be breaking down any cold calls or sales calls today. We will do some of that before Christmas for sure. But yeah, what we're actually here to do today is we're really excited because you may have seen a lot of yellow book covers on being promoted on LinkedIn this week. As being demonstrated by my not so glamorous assistant. Yeah, myself, Mark and Stu have had a book published. Feels quite bizarre to say that still, called Problem Prospecting. So we wanted to just come on here, just briefly talk a little bit about, how the whole idea of the book came about, talk a little bit about what you would expect to find in the book itself, and a little bit about kind of just some of our experiences writing the book itself, and what our personal sort of favorite chapters and such like are. We're also going to be running a little promotion at the end of this LinkedIn Live to be in with a chance of receiving one of 5 signed copies. Again, feels weird the fact that we're going to be autographing books, but there you go. But we'd love to hear if you're one of the lucky ones who's already received the book. Please just pop in the comments there. I can see a couple of people. Jack Bowles, he's got his copy. Wayne can see that he bought it yesterday. John has a book wing us way. Johnny Wilson, well, there you go. Johnny Wilson's on, and he says he's got his wife problem prospecting, and I know Johnny's wife, and I can't imagine she's going to be like that enamored by that, to be honest. But anyway, we're really excited just to talk through. So stay on to the end if you want to find out about the promotion, about how you will be with a chance to win one of 5 exclusively signed copies. So let's just get into it. Mark, how on earth did it come about that us 3 planks ended up having a book on Amazon to buy on paperback and Kindle? How did this all happen?
Mate, if Mr. Hamilton, my English literature teacher, could see me now, I mean, there's a chance he's not with us, bless him. He was old back in the day. So how did this come about? I mean, well, so first of all, we started doing these webinars, didn't we? So I don't know if anyone who's watching right now attended any of the webinars. If you did, give us a comment there to say you attended. But during the early stage of the webinars, I was thinking to myself, we've got lots of content here, lots of knowledge between the 3 of us. Not claiming to be experts, but the content seems to be resonating, and I think we all enjoyed just feeling like we were helping people. And I had this idea for a couple of days, and I wasn't sure if to send it, if either of you guys would be interested. And then when was it? Was it the 20th of April, wasn't it? I've got it in that screenshot. 20th of April, I just dropped you both a message. Peak lockdown this, just saying, lads, is this a mental idea? Do you fancy writing a book? And you were both really keen. You straight away it was like, brilliant idea, love this. You both thought it'd be quite easy as well. Would you retract that statement?
Well, I think initially the idea was we were going to write this book as just like a little PDF that we were going to make, sort of available to who we wanted online. As far as an actual book, this was never really in the question.
God, that's such a good point. Yeah, no, originally it was like, could we write a little ebook, like a Google Doc that people could have access to? Christ.
Well, we offered it on the webinars, didn't we? If you remember, we actually had people who bought an ebook that we were going to do on the webinars who have been really patient with us and waited 6 months to get their copy of Problem Prospecting. So if you're one of those, cheers and thanks for your patience. Hopefully you've got your copies of the book. You were the first to get them, and thanks for the early support.
So that's a good point. Yeah, so it's going to be an ebook, and then our CEO is just like, lads, listen, totally separate from Refract. It's a personal project, but if you're going to do this, my advice is to do it properly. And Size of bloody that. And, like, listen to the noise. Like,
will you stop stopping that book?
This is the first ever published version of the book. It's an absolute monster. So yeah, that Rich is how we come about it. The webinars led to an ebook, led to this brick.
Yeah, I think the key thing is that we that the boot camps that we did that kicked this all off was just kind of spur the moment thing. It was to kind of help people who were now sort of operating in a quite a tough economy, selling from their spare bedrooms, and a lot of people had never been in that situation before, and it was just really, it wasn't even a Refract thing in many respects. We just came on and just started to talk about how we do prospect and the stuff that we've learned through the years, and I think that's what's heavily influenced the stuff that we put in the book. Is a lot of the stuff that we've it's our experiences, isn't it, over our careers.
Absolutely. I mean, Stu, so I've known you, Stu, for like 14 years. If I said to you on day one, when you and I worked for a once Premier League football club, #League One at the minute, that we are going to become, name that club. If you can name that club in the comments, get it in.
Maybe that hard, truly. Literally just go to LinkedIn and find out where we both were.
Yeah. #football quiz. Didn't expect that one. Anyway, Stu, if I said to you, listen, mate, in 14 years, me and you, not only are we going to be published authors, and this is the most mental bit, #1 best-selling published authors, what would you have said to me?
Nah, I'd have said you're mental, because when I met you couldn't read or write. So.
Anything cost a fortune for this.
Mark was chief of photocopying when we worked at the football club.
And I photocopy twice a day, every single national newspaper and every local newspaper.
Maybe that's what you were destined to write your own book, mate, because all of that time you spent photocopying and reading newspapers paid off.
We've all got to start somewhere, Stu. Weren't you a milkman?
When I was 14, yeah. Don't tell
Rich,
that.
where did you start? I started off in a bacon packing factory. What about you, Rich? Going wild on that topic.
Well, I was delivering Chronicles on my bike, and then was a barista at Costa Coffee. Barista is basically a posh word for someone who just uses a coffee machine to make coffees, basically. So, but yeah, it is pretty staggering that we've now got something that is an actual physical book with our name on. So,
genuinely though, to answer your question seriously, Mark, like, even if you'd asked me 9 months ago, would we write a book? I'd have said you were crazy. I think I put a LinkedIn post about that. It's a massive achievement. I'm really proud of what we've done. Even if we said, when we first started writing, if a few people read it, then we'll be happy. But to be a bestseller, it's absolutely blown us away. But even more so, the feedback we're getting from people. We're getting unbelievable feedback from people. Some people messaged us on LinkedIn, read the book the first night, they bought the Kindle version and read the book that evening from cover to cover, and they absolutely blew us away that people spent the time doing that. But I think it just shows what you can achieve, when you put your mind to something and just willing to take a risk and have a go. It could have been an absolute flop and nobody could have read it, and we had to take that risk, but it's been a massive success. But I used to think that anybody who had wrote a book was either A, a celebrity, or B, somebody who was on a pedestal where I could never achieve that. Some of the big names in sales who have wrote books, Jeb Blunt and people of that caliber, our book's now competing with those guys, which seems surreal. But that's why we want to be different. Our book is 3 guys who do this job day in, day out. We've done it for over 40 years between us, and we're not saying we're experts. We learn every day. We've just documented what we do and things that work for us, and it's just an honest take on what we've done in sales, and hopefully it's helpful for everybody else out there. But it does come from the heart. It's what we do every day.
Yeah,
I guess with regards to it, as well, Rich, we've had tons of feedback. What's the kind of feedback you're getting? What are people taking away from the book, Rich?
Yeah, I think well, first of all, I think our objective here was to do something a little bit different, which was, I've read some great sales books. I've got a load on my bookshelf, and got some that I've really enjoyed reading. One thing I'd never really read before was something like truly kind of practical and actionable, like stuff that I was like, I could almost like have just by my side on a day-to-day basis to quickly just read up and get some inspiration and actually try it out. And this is what we wanted to achieve was having that kind of, I can almost describe it as like a handbook, like that book that can sit on your left hand side whilst you're working from home, and if you need a bit of inspiration, you just turn to chapter 4 and suddenly read up something that you can actually put into practice that exact same moment. And it that is exactly the kind of stuff that we're kind of getting back from initial readers, and what we hope that people will get is that people see this as not just a book that you read and you kind of think, I can use some of that, or like the theory sounds good, but can I truly actually put it into practice? We want people to kind of say, oh, I'm going to give that a try right now, and I'm going to see what kind of result I get. And so that's the kind of I think what you will get from the book is exactly that, whether it's cold calling, emailing, engaging with prospects on LinkedIn, whether it's voicemails, whether it's objection handling. Like, there's a chapter there that you can take stuff like actual scripts, plays, techniques, frameworks, real examples that we've used in the past, and you can actually just use them yourself. And that's exactly what's in this book. Is it's designed to be that handbook. Mark, obviously we wrote the book as a collective, but the chapters were almost written individually, but we all reviewed them collaboratively, give feedback, input. Some chapters were collaborated on by a couple of us. But what was your favorite chapter to write out of the entire book that when we, as far as your contribution's concerned?
Let me have a quick look here at the contents page. I would say when I look at this and I sort of think back, my favorite chapter to write, like the one that I feel, if I'm just talking personally now, was the how to cold call like a pro. I feel like I put a lot into that, and what I tried to do was just really break it down step by step. I think what you're saying now, although I've never said this to you, which is mad because we've written the book, a book that inspired me the most. I don't know if either of you two read this. I got given this really early stages when we used to work at the Test Factory. It was by Jeffrey Gitomer. I mean, you don't see him anymore. I certainly don't anyway. But it's called The Sales Bible. I don't know if either of you two read that. But I read that book, and it was just like, here's how you do it. And I've never read a sales book like that since. All the other books kind of like, yeah, nice idea, there's storytelling, but how do I put that into practice? And when I was writing the cold calling structure and the chapter, I literally broke down almost every word that you should use and why, and really broke it down and laid it out. And I think Chris Russell is here. He's commented. He's one of the people that chinned the book in the first night, and he was saying that chapter, he'd never seen it written like that, and I was so chuffed to read that feedback. So yeah, I would say the cold calling chapter for me. But I think we've all got our own big wedge of a chapter, haven't we? Like Rich, what would yours have been?
Yeah, I mean, I've got like my favorite chapter that I wrote, but my favorite chapter as far as like just my favorite chapter that I think to read, if that makes sense. So I put a lot of as people will follow me will know. I do invest a lot of time on LinkedIn and post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and I wrote a whole chapter about kind of building your own brand and to be seen as an expert, and I quite enjoyed that because I think, like, again, people can say you need to build your own brand, but they don't necessarily get told like how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of enjoyed like just writing like step by step. Not that I'm like the expert. There's people far more better at this than I am, with far bigger followers and all the rest of it. But just an actual kind of like, here's how to get started. If you're not sure how to get started and just building an audience and being seen as an expert, like these are the steps that you can take to doing it. So that was like my personal favorite to write. As far as my favorite chapter when I look through the book is like, what do I really enjoy how we've done it is the objection handling playbook, which is chapter 7, because again, it's like people talk about objection handling and some like very high level, okay, you need to, ask questions to handle objections. Whereas what we've done is we've chosen almost the most popular objections that you can get when you're cold calling, and like broken down specifically the different things, the specific things to say in those scenarios. And there might be one or two different variations or routes based on like how the objection actually gets presented. And I just love that kind of thing where it's like literally pages of, right, this is what to say when you get the no budget, or next page, this is what to say when someone says they're working with a competitor. I just think I love the way it's presented. that anybody can just quickly get some inspiration from that and then just make the next call. Stu, I don't know if you've got any different views or opinions.
So hard, isn't it? Because like, although we individually wrote bits, like you say, we all come better as a collective to write the things and all had input, and it's been different, versions of what we wrote. Objections is definitely a strong point. I love that. And writing the emails is a big thing for me. Like, I love writing the emails, but the feedback we're getting, to be honest, I'm getting feedback from people who are reading the books, and they're picking out different things, like which we didn't even think. We were really reluctant to put a cadence of emails in there. And that wasn't, we didn't want to kind of share what we do. Anybody can, I'll share what our emails are, and we have done in the webinars. It wasn't that. We just didn't want to kind of say, this is what you should do, and this is the kind of email template, and everybody just copy that entirely. But I'm glad we did, because people are, getting back in touch and saying it's brilliant just to see it. It's brilliant to see it laid out. And, I've used it, but I've tweaked it. I've put my own personality on. I've done this and that. And I think that's fantastic that people are getting inspiration from it. And that was the idea. We made a lot of calls like that, like where we think, should we really put this in? Should we, go into this depth? And I think everyone, we decided, yes, let's just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Let's put everything into it. And we didn't hold anything back. I know there's a question there. I forget who asked the question. John Hale, is there anything in there that you had a disagreement over? The biggest disagreements we had, John, were over the cover. Like, Mark having a tank on there for starters. Mark wanted a tank coming through the wall. We had to have some. We had to have Rain Mark in. His mind was going wild. His inspiration. He was. But the thing is, we are all aligned because we do this D&D out together as a team, and this is what the Refract team do. So it's not like we all have our own ways of doing things. We've created this kind of playbook ourselves as a team, and we've just put this out there for everybody in the hope that it'll help everybody and get better and have successful careers in sales.
I think you bang on there, Stu. That was the thing. Like John, to answer the question, there was nothing really that we massively disagreed over, because this is just how we do things at Refract and how we coach and train our own people to do. And it was like, it's in many respects, that's what made this easier and a kind of a pleasure to write, that you didn't feel like you were kind of at loggerheads about. And it's not as if we all have the exact same opinion on things and do things the exact same way. Like, I'm sure, Mark has his own style over cold calling to Stu, but the ultimate frameworks and the kind of the whole process and thought process behind it is very consistent with how we all operate.
I think there's a thing that's missing, and maybe people won't appreciate this as well, is we all started working together and we were 20, 21. We're now 33, 34. We've gone on that journey.
Stu's older than that, isn't he?
Yeah, Stu, what are you?
35.
Oh, dear.
So, but because we've gone on that journey together, we've seen where each other's learn and lessons and shared that knowledge. And I think that's why we are so aligned. I really can't think of any disagreements other than the front cover. But even then, right, this is genuinely true. I went for a walk with Stu, socially distanced, and I said, I don't know why, in my head, this book is yellow or navy blue. We then got a Zoom with Rich, and Rich went, I don't know why, but in my head, this book is navy blue or yellow. And I was just like, that is mental. It's just and we went with yellow.
Yeah.
The only thing that got omitted, John, which didn't get in, which is really disappointing, is my version on how to play Monopoly. I spent hours writing a guide on how to play Monopoly in the games in the end, and these two culled it. So if anybody does want that, drop me a message and I'll send you my guide to how to play Monopoly.
Nobody wants to see that.
Let's have this right. Yeah, let's have this right. So we've got a chapter about some games you can play as teams to drive activity and banter and get better results, etc. So we've got Play Your Cards Right or Card Sharks in America. We've got a game on the Grand National. We've got all these games, and it's you will need. This is how you play it. These are the rules. Then Stu goes, oh yeah, I've done Monopoly. Literally went, Monopoly. Here's how you play it. Get a Monopoly game, and away you go. It was the most laziest thing I'd ever seen, and neither of me and Rich could be bothered to write ourselves. So Monopoly got cold.
It wasn't quite that bad.
Just finally then, so we've got this book. It's been amazing to see. Literally, today, just literally, this book's getting downloaded and delivered in all these different countries, USA, Germany, Canada, France, Australia. There was even an ebook download. It's amazing to see. It's pretty weird to see it in many respects. And so what we want to do is we wanted to do some sort of promotion where we're going to give away 5 complimentary copies of Problem Prospecting. Appreciate there's people who've bought the book. You're the lucky ones that you've actually got the insight and intel before everybody else. So, but yeah, there might be colleagues that you think maybe you've got a secret Santa. I know that lots of people have secret Santas at work, and this is maybe a good idea to buy if you've got a fellow colleague in sale. But we're going to be giving away 5 free copies. And we're gonna sign these. We're gonna try and find a way to get together over Christmas to autograph the books collectively. Might be challenging, but we will try our best. And all you need to do in order to be in with a chance of winning one of these copies is me, Mark, and Stu. Following this LinkedIn Live, we're each going to put our own posts on LinkedIn about this competition, and all you need to do is like and add a comment on the post, and you will be entered into the draw to get one of 5 copies. If you want to be in a chance to treble your chances, you have to like and comment on each person's post, mine, Mark, and Stu. So you increase your chances the more that you engage with the content. Obviously, it's to help us, build a bit of awareness for the book. It's not as if we've got a big kind of PR agency and everything behind us. This is our promotion basically, and we have literally invested hours and hours and hours of this over weekends and on evenings to get this out there. And it is truly just to see, the biggest pleasure in this is to kind of see and hear the great feedback from people who've enjoyed it. So that's the competition. If you want to bypass the competition and just want to go and get your hands on it, and maybe if you're on Amazon Prime, it might be even you could get it this weekend. If you go to problemprospecting.com, you'll be niftily rerouted to our Amazon bookstore, where you can buy the book, which is £9.99 UK paperback, and is half that cost if you're wanting to download on Kindle. Final question, lads: any desire to write another book?
There's a desire, but there's a lot of hard work as well, isn't there? Like, I think we all know what's being put into it. There's definitely desire. I guess what's really exciting for me is like the impact it has on people, and the feedback that we're getting. Like that is it's addictive getting that feedback and getting those comments from people. And if we can do something else which is as good and can help just as much, then why not? Never say never.
I mean, there is obviously the part here that we've done the prospecting. There is the discovery and the demo and negotiation, etc. I've just got someone here, like, I'm not even connected with them, just emailed me to say your books just hit my hallway floor. I mean, it's crazy. I feel like, though, like I've just come home from the hospital. Stu, you know this feeling. Right? You come from the hospital with a newborn baby, and all of a sudden you're getting asked about a second one. Like, I need to process what's happened here first. But do I believe in the future? Yes. But I need a year off, I reckon, lads.
A year? How long? Like I'm.
Good. You were in like 6 weeks or something. I know you.
I've said this to other people. Writing the book is actually the easy bit. It's all the stuff afterwards that is the.
It was resizing the cover, wasn't it, for Amazon?
That was 4 hours. That
ended the 3 of us that Sunday night when we were trying to resize the cover for Amazon.
Yeah, and we know how that came out. Have
a guess, lads. Right, because between us, how many hours do you think we put in this book between us?
I don't want to think about
it. It's hundreds and hundreds of hours. Like that's what we're talking about here. Let's just enjoy problem prospecting, and let's just enjoy it, lads.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully that was good, just to give people a bit of an insight into why we've done this and what's in the book. As I said, look out for the posts that me, Mark, and Stu will be putting out almost immediately after this LinkedIn Live. Comment, like it, to be in with a chance, and we'll hopefully let you know by the end of probably by the end of the weekend if you've been lucky enough to win, and we'll get in touch to get your contact details to send one out in the post. Brilliant.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.